let's get into the predictions league. And Mr. Sale, take a bow, sir. I mean, you've been having a pretty dodgy season, but 27 points this week for Mr. Sale. An absolute stellar effort from him. Takes him up to 102. He's leapfrogged me and Mr. Crabtree. Another week like that, he'll be knocking on Mr. Nixon's door. Good effort indeed. Greg, the members and the non-members, all getting 24 points this week. Then me on 22. Joel, a better week from you with 21. And finally, Earl with 16 points. Earl, of course, dropping down. Unlike two in Giants colours to be bottom of the tables, that's very, very unusual. Very unusual indeed. That's cruel. That's cruel. I'm sorry, big fella. I'm sorry. It's cruel. Anyway, that's how it all looks. But no, a massive well done to Mr. Sale. We've never had a perfect 30 ever. And Steph came very, very close last week. I think it was the Wakey game, Steph?
Yes.
It was a Wakey game that let you down. Unlucky, mate. Unlucky. But hey, we start again. But yeah, I think that could be probably one of the closest efforts for 30 points on a week. I can't remember a better effort than that. So very well done indeed. Right, we go to the games for this week. Right, let's get rid of the QR code for this one. Right, okie dokie. Warrington against Saints. Of course, a trilogy, no less, at the start of the season. Warrington 2-0 up, 6 on the bounce now for the Warrington Wolves. We know the Wire have got some concerns, some big concerns when it comes to their personnel. We've actually got the teams. I just forgot to upload it before the show. So let's get them up. Here it comes. Fantastic. These are the squads that have been announced for both sides. From a St. Helens perspective, Percival, I think, is massive. I say this all the time. Of course, who are they going to put next to him? Probably, I'm guessing it would be Matt Whitley, if I'm a betting man. Wings, Murphy came through, which is good news. Benison will be the other side. Then he's got a decision to make in the halves and at full back. Shall we start there? Joel, do you see him making a change, or do you think he'll go Wellesby at 6 and Sailor at 1 again? I think Whitby stays in the squad, quite frankly. Do you think he's going to make a change at 1 and 6?
No, I think he's going to keep it as it was. One thing that we've learned certainly at Huddersfield is you just can't keep swapping and changing. I know if you have to, you have to. But if something's working, keep it going. See, the great thing about Wellesby is you can put him in 1 and you can put him in 6, and he does a great job in either positions. But then, you know, you like Tristan Sailor, you know, you've got to kind of. It's his first year in Super League, so you've got to settle him in. So for me, I'd be keeping it as it is. But Paul Wellens, he's known to change things up from time to time, so anything could happen.
Greg, I mean, you know, where Sailor's concerned, I take Joel's point there. You can't keep moving him around. They've got to settle on a position so he can get some sort of form and consistency. We were talking, I think, I can't remember if it was Round Unpacked or Captain's Run, 2 shows, of course, that only our members get to see. Over, will he be, I mean, I saw this on a St. Helens page, actually, that, you know, Lomax traditionally was more a 6 than a 7. So would they be tempted to leave Whitby at 7, bring Lomax in at 6, put Wellesby back at fullback, and take Sailor out the firing line? Would that be something that you think he might do, or are you agreeing with Joel or leave it as it is?
I think it was Round Unpacked when I said this is the battle of two coaches who have to be brave this week. If Wellens is brave, he could do that. He could also drop Whitby and bring Lomax in, which I think possibly he may do. The more experienced player against who's played Warrington a lot of times and actually knows what it's like to beat a Warrington team. You know, I think Wellens will. I think he'll persevere with Sailor at fullback, and I think the change will be Lomax for Whitby.
Wow,
I'm going to guess Steph will disagree with that. Because I don't think am I right, Steph? Do you think he'll leave Whitby in?
I think he's made a very brave call for the Wigan game. I think he should back himself. And the need, for me, there's not many teams that will go to Wigan and only lose by the amount of points the Saints lost. And I know that's not what Saints fans want to hear. But they didn't play badly in this game. The reason they lost was individual errors. It wasn't his team selection. So if they can fix that up, then they will beat Warrington in this game. I'm convinced of it, and more so because of the Warrington injuries as well, which has got to key players, with Williams. I think it's more on Burgess' selection than what Wellens' selection is in this game. That's the big one for me. If Saints can fix up those silly errors from individuals, then they've got a very good side. And if anybody thinks they haven't, then I think they're a bit deluded, if I'm being honest. They've got some quality players in that Saints team. And if they can fix up those individual errors, I think they're going to put on a real show here. And I can't see it being 7 losses on the trot. That's the other big one. But we'll see. I think he's going to stick with the same team.
Yeah, I mean, on the Warrington side, I mean, look, Harrison, very surprised to see James Harrison back so quickly. He was expected to be out a lot longer than that. We saw Steve limp off at Leigh. He's in the squad. We all know that Ashton's carrying a knot. Even though he's scoring tries, it's crystal clear that Matty Ashton is not 100%. I would hope that the centres had a few passes between them and the wingers this week in training. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, like I say, I think we've been wondering how long it's going to be before Saints beat Warrington. Of course, 6 in a row is unprecedented. One thing's for certain, I think the St. Helens fans, regardless of what they say, league positions don't lie. They should be beating Warrington. They should be. But at the moment, Warrington have got unbelievably a bit of a hoodoo over Saints, which just doesn't happen. But I think this is a game where I think Saints, if they don't win this, wow, I think, you can imagine, can't you? You can imagine wobble next week. Anyway, let's go through where we think it's going to be. Joel, we'll start with you. Who wins and by how many?
I just don't see Whitby not playing. I think Paul Wellens has seen something in him, and he does like him. And with his youth and speed and vigour, I think he's going to help them just get over the line. I think being at home to Wire, Wire being at home, should I say? Sorry, get myself clear. That's going to have an impact. So I only see it as a 1-8 win for Saints because they're not at home; they're away. However, had it been at home, it may have been a slightly different story.
Well, you got a bit bigger if Saints were at home. Possibly,
yeah, but just 1-8 because I think the crowd will just help Warrington keep it down. But it's just your injuries that are gonna make you struggle a little bit, I think, against them this week.
Well, of course, Saints have got their own injuries. We must say that in order to be, fair and right down the middle on this one. I think neither side. I think Saints probably in terms of personnel on the team sheet are busted in certain areas. Warrington, whilst they have a team sheet in certain areas, I think are busted. If that makes any sense. Steph, before I come to Greg, I'll go to you. Who wins and by how many?
I think I've said what I believe in terms of the squad selections and things like that. Given having watched Warrington at the weekend, George Williams is a huge miss for Warrington, but also Jimmy Harrison. I can't see him playing in this one. I just can't see it. If he does, that's going to be a massive boost for Warrington, and that could make a big difference. But also it's the squad select. Like I said before, the squad selection for Warrington. Danny Walker playing at 6, I don't think worked for Wire. I think it took a lot away from the 9 position, which is a big threat which Warrington pose. It's going to come down to who Burgess plays. I think it's going to be a really close game. It could be a golden point. But I'm based off what I've seen and the players that I expect to play in this one, I think Saints are just going to nudge it. So I've gone Saints.
Yeah, absolutely. The members, they've gone the same way. The non-members have gone the same way. I'm going the same way. I'm going Saints 1-8. I think Warrington at the moment, it's not just the personnel. They just seem out of sorts as a team.
Yeah.
And when you see Sam Burgess in a post-match press conference looking as rattled as he did, you know, he certainly was on a short fuse. Let's put it that way. I think pressure is there, and you know, in some respects, having got 6 in a row, Saints could be the perfect team to play. Something tells me they want to settle a score, and this could be where that run stops as good as it's been. Greg, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's denying that it's a good Saints squad. They've got a lot of injuries though. More and more injury news coming through this week. You know, Batchelor's out, Robertson's going to be out. There's a few players missing there. I know you probably will disagree with me, Dave, but I'm surprised that Ollie Leyland isn't in that squad. I think yes, he made a few mistakes against Wigan at Las Vegas. He didn't have Mark. There was no Mark Sneed in the Warrington squad.
He needs a carrot alongside him to complete that. Carry on.
He's a turnip, that fella. There's no Mark Sneed in that squad. I think, you know, I know he's on loan out at Widnes, but I would have loved to have seen Burgess have a bit of faith in Ollie Leyland. Maybe put him with Sneed there to cajole him, to bring him along, to say to him, right, you do what you do best and I'll control the game. I would love to have seen that. And that's where I was a bit disappointed that Leyland wasn't in the squad this week. I think he may well go for Ratchford in the halves with Sneed and put Walker back at number 9. When Walker went back to 9 and Curry went at number 7 against Leigh, we looked more balanced. We looked stronger. I'm going to go left field here, and I'm going to go wire 9 to 17. I've just got one of those feelings, and I don't get them often with Warrington. We just seem to have that hoodoo over them, and I will eat humble pie. I will take the pelters. I will take all the pelters that I'm going to get if, you know, Saints win. But I just get the feeling that we've got a bit of a thing over Saints at this moment in time. We've played him 3 times in the first 9 weeks. You know what I mean? The memories are still raw for Saints. 9 to 17 wire.
Right, okie dokie. So that's where we see
completely dismissed there, Dave.
No, mate. Everybody's got a view. I think it's a bold one, I have to say. Craig Forth, he did say we'll get more games, so it's likely that he's going to be in. Jono, I think we've answered that in terms of does Sam stick with Walker or does he put the kid in? He will not play. He just won't happen.
He'll play Ratchford before he plays.
Yeah, I mean, you know, trust me, as somebody who commentates on the and the academy. Irwin not quite ready. It would be wrong to do so. He's not where Leon Hayes was at when Hazy got put in there. I think that just doesn't happen. He's going to be a player, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a bit too early. But hey, I could be wrong when I say that. Who knows? Dawn Baker, good evening to you. Dawn's with us. He needs to drop Sailor, put Lomax in with Whitbit and Wellesby back to fullback. Exactly what we were discussing. So that's where Dawn sees it. Interesting. Obviously, Lewis Murphy's a big bonus for them. Right, let's go into this. Norway will Watford play with Swede. Love it. Norway will. That's a line in it. Good effort, lad. All right, Kev Worrell. Let's go into it. Kev Worrell 128 the wire. Nicola Burtonwood 128 the wire. David Carroll 128 the wire. Jono 128 the wire. I love for Warrington. I'm amazed. Dawn Baker Saints 128. Phil Webster 128. Aidan Simpson Saints 128. Craig's gone the same way. Steve Cartledge 90-17 to Saints, as does Alex Sharp. So that's really interesting. And Craig Forth agrees that if Warrington win this, it will be a Saints special. But give your head a wobble, possibly, is what I would say on that one. Right, let's go to a really, really interesting game. Friday, 8 o'clock. Leeds Rhinos taking on Hull KR. I think this is a belter. This, again, Leeds in reasonable form. We'd have to say that. You know, they're a bit up and down. They're certainly looking impressive when they're going up against substandard opposition. Great win against Wigan, don't get me wrong. But again, there's still a few questions I think they have to ask, albeit, boys, we've got to give it one more. That pass from James McDonnell. Oh, yes, that's what we're talking about, son. If he does that on Friday night, I'll be rolling around the city. I'll be spilling me beer. Go on, James, lad. Stunning skills. Outstanding. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get back into it. Joel, we'll come to you first as your top right. This is a good. I mean, you saw Leeds at close quarters at the weekend. Hull KR to the Rhinos. Your thoughts?
It's so hard to predict Leeds this year because they have really good games, and then some games where they just look like they're just dropping. And when I say dropping, I mean there just doesn't seem to be the cohesion that you would think there would be when you look at them the previous week. You know, against Huddersfield, they look good, but you play Huddersfield. You know, it's not hard to play good against Huddersfield. I think Halifax Panthers have put 50 past Huddersfield right now, so I don't think that's a good barometer.
Halifax Panthers as well, still leading in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know it's not a good barometer to go by. Though they are very good, I'll give it to them. When they're playing well, they're playing really well. But then you look at KR and they've just got everything going for them. I just don't see them losing a game like this. When KR want to defend, you just can't score past them. You know, tell me many clubs that can score much more than 10 or 20 past KR. It's not happening. So on that basis, I have gone KR 9-17. And that's just purely on form and who they've got at the disposal. I think it doesn't help Leeds when you've got Frawley playing in the halves, because even some of the Leeds fans don't like Frawley. So, you know, I've never been impressed with him. I think I've made that very clear. And he takes out some of the spark in the attack. And yes, okay, I know he's scored a few times this year, but it doesn't mean anything. He's taken out some of the spark that they've got at Leeds. And I think for that reason they're gonna struggle. Whereas KR's got every strike and every bit of defence in them, and it's just a difficult one to go against. So it's not anything but against Leeds. It's just KR are that good.
They are. Let's go to the Matt Frawley fan club himself, Mr. Sale. We know he likes a bit of Frawley, especially on a try-building bet. Go on then, Steph. Have you seen in the Wigan performance a Leeds team? Because let's be fair, there's very little between Wigan and KR, and of course Wigan beat KR. So have you seen enough in the Wigan performance that Leeds put on to suggest that if they fire, they have got enough to trouble KR?
I think if they had Brodie Croft in the team, then yeah. But I don't think he's included, is he?
We haven't got the team still tomorrow.
Right. Well, I don't think Croft will be playing in this game. I might be wrong completely on that one. I think we saw enough in the Huddersfield game to show that if OKR turn up and they defend like they did when they played Leigh at home and the Hull FC games, if they turn up with that attitude, Leeds won't be able to live with them. It's as simple as that. Hull KR have got a better team. But Leeds are well capable of putting some shock performances in. They're very much in the Leigh mould, and a few other teams in Super League where they put in some very good performances, but they've also put in some average ones, but still got the wins. If OKR turn up in this game, they should win it easily. It's as simple as that for me. They've just got a better team. I'm going to go KR
9-17. Greg, does last week matter? KR, obviously, a stern challenge by FC. I would dare say more competitive game. Sorry, Joel, but it was I think it was a much tougher game for KR than perhaps it was for Leeds. So Leeds may be fresher again going back for this. Could they, if they have their game on, challenge the KR for this one?
I'm not saying that it was obviously clearly more competitive because of what was at stake in the whole derby, but Leeds made that game more competitive than it should have been, really. And I think that could be very well a wake-up call for Leeds. I think I said on the other day that I think they maybe took that game for granted against Huddersfield, and that's no disrespect to Huddersfield, Joel, in any way, shape, or form. And Huddersfield again put up a good performance for the first part of the game, and as has been the case most of the season, fell away in the second half a lot. So I think that might be a wake-up call for Leeds, and I think KR will probably have been beaten up a lot by that whole game. There'll be a lot of bruised bodies. Unfortunately, I think Leeds will put a good show of it together. But I'm going KR 9-17.
KR 9-17. Good man. Craig Forth sees it exactly the same way. Phil Webster's going as far as saying 18 plus to KR. Aidan Simpson sees a Leeds win 9-17. Interesting. Our newest member, Mr. Messer, he's gone KR 18 plus. Carl's on the wrong show. He's backing the Canterbury Bulldogs to be winning their game in the NRL 18 plus this weekend. We're doing Super League here, Carl, just to let you know. Just to let you know, my friend. Yeah, so back into it. John OKR 9-17, Carl Shaw Leeds 1-8, Nicola Burton KR 9-17. So a lot of KR missing both number one wingers, still a win though for the Rovers 1-8. That's interesting. So Penthorne saying that no Burgess and no Davis. That's a better one. Out till April.
Burgess injured.
By the sounds of it, bit of an inside track on that. Yeah, a bit of love. Aidan Simpson, like I say, Leeds 9-17. So yeah, interesting. But I'm with you. I'm going to go KR 9-17. It's hard not to back KR at the moment. I think a lot would need to happen to not make me back KR at the moment. But there you go. It'll be a very interesting game indeed. Dawn Kirby's telling us that Burgess fell his HIA and Tom Davies dislocated his shoulder, but it's okay. So obviously going to rest him this week. Well done, Miss Kirby. Kirby, you're an absolute legend. That's what we like to see. Yeah, the roving reporter this evening that is Dawn Kirby. What a legend. And she'll be joining us at the Challenge Cup final as well. Right, let's get to the next game, of course, featuring Joel's beloved Huddersfield Giants. Saturday, 3 o'clock. Fantastic fare on a Saturday afternoon. Castleford Tigers roll into town. And for me, Greg, I'm going to stick with you on this one, and then we'll go around the other way. I think this is a must-win for Huddersfield. I think they've got enough to win it. I think, I genuinely do. At home, they're not playing drastically bad. There's bits in there to be happy about if you're Huddersfield, but if they don't win this, you just wonder where that first win's coming from. That said, Cass will have Tom Amon. So over to you, Greg.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for Huddersfield is they need to put an 80-minute performance together. I'm sure Joe will agree with that. They've played really, really well in parts of games and not kept it up. Whether that's through injuries, whether that's through, teams getting on top, whatever that is. And I think it's important for them to try and get that 80-minute performance. Can they do that this weekend? I'm not so sure because Castleford, again, the Amon factor will be a big factor. I think Castleford will be stinging from the weekend. And I'm sorry, Joel. Well, they might be dancing in the streets of Huddersfield. I don't know with this one. But I just see Castleford 9-17 on this one.
9-17.
I think Huddersfield are just struggling to put a complete performance together for whatever reason.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. Craig saying in the chat, Amon versus Burgess. Yeah, that could be a tasty little collision.
Is Burgess injured?
No. Is he injured, Joel? I've not heard he's injured.
No, he's okay.
I heard a little rumour that he might not play, but I might be wrong.
Right, Steph, over to you. Huddersfield cast, mate. What are your thoughts?
No, I'm pretty much on the same boat as what Reggie's going with there. I think the problem with Huddersfield is it's not the starting team; it's the players that coming off the bench and the young lads, and that's always been the issue so far this season. Really, it's a decimated squad, and I think Castleford are also improving as well, which is the other big concern for me from a Huddersfield point of view. Obviously with the two loan signings, Amon coming in, obviously it's Amon's first week, so he's going to take a little bit of time just to get into it as well. But I do think Huddersfield will be really competitive in this one. I think this could be a really close game. So I think I've gone Castleford, but only just. And I think it's going to be another probably heartbreaker for you, Joel. Unfortunately, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people going the way of Cass. Andy Baby Cass 1-8. Tom, Mr. Massa. I think I'm hoping I'm saying that right. 1-8 Cass. Carl Shaw 1-8. Dawn Kirby Cass 1-8. Carl going Cass 18 plus. That's a big call. Jacob Dale Cass 18 plus. Joel, Bill Leyland, is he still with you and is he likely to feature?
He's with us, but no, he's out. He's out. He's not good. Yeah, he's.
Over you, mate. Your thoughts on your team?
Can I just say, Craig Forth, what a legend! He's backed me and Huddersfield week on week. I've not mentioned it, but he's had a lot of faith in Huddersfield. So, Craig, thank you.
It's not faith. It's not faith. It's sympathy. But carry on.
Well,
it's alcohol, mate. It's alcohol.
Listen,
you
take what you can get, and that's all I'm getting right now. So I'm happy with that. So, Craig, thank you. Right. Let's just throw injuries out the window. We're sick of saying it every single week.
Yeah.
We are now getting used to playing with injured players, without players through injury. So I'm hoping, from what I have seen, that we're going to put up a fight. I know we're not going to win, but I have gone Tigers 1-8, and that's with the hope of us being able to just put in a bit of effort in defence, trying to string it from not a 40-minute or a 30-minute game to, can we at least play them for 60 minutes? We do need to put an 80-minute performance in, but it's not going to happen just yet. So if we play a 60-minute game, I'll be happy, because that's progress for us. There's some young players who are getting some great experience, showing got some real talent in us youths. They've just not got the experience again that Cass will have, and that's what will do it for them. We're going to start getting some players back, hopefully, at Magic. But that's not going to be a win then, I don't think, either, because it's going to take another couple of weeks for him to gel, because it's been so long. So I'm thinking another 4 or 5 weeks, at least, until we get his first win. If it happens, it'll be a miracle. I'll take it. But I just don't see it happening. But yeah, in all, Tigers 1-8.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. And Mr. Forth is saying that you're welcome. Outstanding. Nothing like a bit of Moana on Super League Raw, is there? Let's be fair. He's got the doll. But anyway, that's by the by. We move on. Well, his castle, he's got his Disney princesses. It's great.
He's got the dress as well.
Yeah. You know what I mean? He's there now. Doing it. He's painted his tats on. He's running around the room as if he's the Rock. He's enjoyed himself. Good lad. I'm watching Super League Raw.
Leave my mate alone.
I'll get that image out of my head now.
Good man, Mr. Forth. He knows I'm pulling his leg. Right. Okay. I don't really want to dwell too much on this one. I'm very conscious of time. Salford hosted Leigh Leopards this weekend at the Salford Community Stadium. Of course, well beaten against Catalan. Leigh getting over the line against Warrington, of course, last week. I'm going to start with Steph to just set the tone, and then maybe we can get on with this pretty quickly. Any injury concerns, and do you see any other than an 18-plus win?
Well, I think the biggest injury concern is Armstrong, isn't it? For Leigh, obviously going up against Warrington, that's the big worry. I expect Leigh to potentially rest anybody who's got any niggles in this one, but also I think they will put up the most competitive team we can, but also reserving them players who are potentially needing a bit of a rest. Talk about the new signing. Joffa, I'm going to call him because I can't pronounce his surname yet properly. I don't see us playing him against Salford. I'd like to think it's Leigh 18 plus.
Are you going Leigh 18 plus?
I'm
going 18 plus. Joel?
Yeah, 18 plus.
Greg?
Yeah, I don't think Offengowie will play.
Yeah.
Is it Parpy suspended for this one?
Pappy is.
So Dwyer will probably come back in, won't he?
Yeah, Armstrong.
Don't make a difference.
I would have thought, shocks happen in rugby league. Leigh 18 plus.
Yeah, 18 plus. Everybody in the chat going Leigh 18 plus. And Craig Force says that I have a camera in his room. I do indeed. The last time I saw Budgie being
We all have, Craig.
The last time I saw Budgie being smuggled like that, it was Tweety Pie and it was Sylvester. But anyway, that's by the by. We move swiftly on. One for the kids. All the kids now. Who's Tweety Pie? Who's Sylvester? Doesn't matter. Just smile, laugh, and we move on to the next game as the Catalan Dragons host Wakefield. What a game! This could be a little bit. This, Steph says it every week. This could be the game of the round, and it could be. This could be the game of the round. And because I gave Steph his due, and we were very quick on Leigh, we'll start with Steph because something tells me Steph's looking forward to this one on Saturday. Go on, Steph.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker, and I do think this could be very, very, very close. Two sides very evenly matched. Catalan, obviously, I think they're 5 from 6. Are they now in terms of their form?
In terms of form, mate, they're one of the form teams in the comp.
Yeah, absolutely, and one that will obviously show on the stat sheet when we do captain's run later in the week. Wakefield will obviously be really happy with that derby win over Castleford, but I think they'll also have a lot of things they want to fix up, and Powell won't be happy with that performance. So I expect Wakefield to go there really fired up for this one. I think it could be an absolute belter. There's some great matchups as well in terms of the forwards and also the backs on show in this one. I'm expecting fireworks at the Stade Brutus, but I've just gone Wakefield. I think Wakefield away from home. I know they picked up the first home victory against Cass, but they seem to play really, really well away. And I don't think Catalan are just there yet. So I'm expecting Wakefield to win 1-8.
Reggie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Catalan have got a few players back this weekend. Whether they'll all play or whether they'll all start we'll see. I think they finally worked out how to get the best out of Tommy Makinson. Excuse me, at the weekend. Albeit it was against Salford. I just get the feeling I'm with Steph. Wakey are away from home. They've played really, really well away from home. Wakey, there's no pressure on them. They play some really good rugby. Wakefield. They came back well against Castleford. I'm with Steph. I'm going Wakey 1-8.
Fair enough. I'm very conscious of the time, so we're going to start motoring now, boys. Non-members, where are we? Non-members, non-members 1-8 Waker, members 1-8 Catalan. Joel, what are you saying?
Very briefly, want to explain my predictions. So I've gone Catalan 9-17, and the reason being is threefold. Wakey have been absolutely immense. I'm not taking that away from them at all, but it's to go to south of France in a very hot weather. It's starting to get very hot over there now. Is that going to take a toll for them? They're going to play really well for about an hour, and for the last 20 minutes, they might struggle a little bit. So that's just something to be aware of. Second of all is because they've been on such a high, going across to somewhere where it might just mentally and physically have a bit of a toll on them, they might struggle. And they've been in England all this time. They've not been out of the country this year yet, and that may have an impact. So I've gone Catalan 9-17, but I may be very wrong.
Well, it's all about predictions, mate, and based on your league position, you could be. But anyway, that's by the by. Only say, mate, your form has got to turn sometime, my mate. Nicola Burtonwood 1-8 Catalan 9-17 says Massa. Our new member 9-17. Dawn Baker's gone Dragons 1-8. Catalan's got 3 backs as Alex Sharp. I'm going to go Catalan Dragons 1-8. I think Catalan will be better for that run out against Salford, and I think they might just do this one, albeit I think Wakey will put up a very good showing indeed. Right, then we come on to this one. All bets are off, I think, on this one. Sunday, 3 o'clock. Fantastic way to end the weekend before final whistle, of course, on Sunday night. Members, please come and join the panel. We've not had many new faces. There's a lot of Team Talk members out there. Come and make your debut. Come and join us on the Final Whistle podcast. The recording this Sunday night, and of course, be the star of the show on a Monday morning for people on their way to work. this should be a belter. We have literally got 10 minutes. We've got to fit in bet, Steph. So we're going to have to be quick. So be quick. Steph, I'll come to you first. FC, Wigan, where are we going?
Yeah, two very informed teams. Great performance by FC against KR. Wigan just showing what Wigan do against St Helens. Probably not where they would want to be, but I think they can get a lot better. We're keeping it short. Wigan 9-17
to Wigan. Joel, who are you going with?
I see a bit closer. Wigan 1-8. FC have been immense, but I think Wigan are going to average a little bit too much because Harry Smith's kicking was unreal. So see a bit more of that this week.
Fantastic. Greg?
I think this is going to be an absolute classic. I hope the people of Hull fill that stadium again. I know the Wigan fans will be there en masse. Hull have got the sign over Wigan at this moment in time. And I'm going Hull 1-8.
Ooh, there you go.
I'm putting it out there. And I know I was getting pelters on the other day, people saying I don't like Wigan. Nothing to do with that.
No, you don't like Wigan.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, I've got some very, very good friends who are Wigan fans. But the reason I've gone Hull is they've got the hoodoo over Wigan at this moment in time. And I just get that feeling, another one of those feelings I had for the Warrington Saints game. Warrington have got the same thing over Saints at the minute. Hull, that comeback in the Challenge Cup was magnificent.
Exceptional.
That's in Wigan's head. And it doesn't often happen to Wigan, but it's in Wigan's head. And I think Hull 1-8.
Yeah, Dawn on about course. We discussed that at length in Round Unpack. Go and have a quick look at that. Not much love in the chat for Hull FC. Most going the way of Wigan. Carl going Wigan by 50th. No, I don't see that, Carl. I'm sorry. John O 9-17 Wigan. Craig 4th 9-17 Wigan. So yeah, a lot of love for Wigan in the chat. And people are now probably thinking, who are these mates that Greg's got in Wigan? Let me tell you now, he travels a long way to his favourite baker to get his favourite meat and potato. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, indeed. Right, there you go. So that's how we see it. I've seen it Wigan 9-17. The members have seen it Wigan 9-17. And the non-members have seen it Wigan 1-8. Just enough time to do this.
Are you sick and tired of winning your bets every week? Want to contribute to the bookies' Christmas party? The bets to ignore when predicting the score. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bet Steph.
Well, just to close, quote Alex Sharp there, we don't need Bet Steph. He never gets any right. I think you're missing the point here, Paul. So yeah, but to start this one off, I have got a bit left field with this one. Two bets not handicapped. So I've just gone for 8 right winners. So yes, we have got a bit different this week. I've gone for a St Helens 8 right win, 2.2, which I think is pretty decent value on that one. Hull KR only minus 2.5 against Leeds. I think that's a fantastic value bet, given the form. And I get it's Leeds at home, but we'll see on that one. Castleford to get the home win. Again, no handicap, 2.2. Wakefield to win at Catalan, 3.2. I think that's massive in terms of recent form and all that kind of thing. They've really downplayed Wakefield's chances there, I think. So 3.2, I think, is massive value. And I've also gone Wigan minus 10.5. I think this one probably could come back to bite me, but I do think Wigan are good enough to overcome that 10.5 handicap. So a massive 5-fold to give 56.44 to 1 odds in this week's.
Wow, there you go. Bit of value in there again, Mr. Sale. I think your first win is on its way, I have to say. Some big value. But yeah, bet a pound, perhaps lose a pound, but it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? But yeah, I think the Hull KR is very generous. And that's very, very generous. Yeah, I think there's some value in there, Mr. Sale. Very good indeed. We'll keep a very close eye on those, as you would expect. Look, what a great evening! It comes, it goes. Dare I say, it's the fastest 2 hours of the week, every week. We've loved your company in the chat. We really have. You've still got your chance. 10 entries for 10 quid. The Challenge Cup tickets. There's the QR code. Maybe get over there now and secure your entries. To the members, of course, you automatically are involved. But if you can't go to the Challenge Cup final, can you please drop me a line on info@superleagueraw.com. That's info@superleagueraw.com, or in the WhatsApp group. By all means, use the announcement page for that, because it'll get lost in the debates and I won't be able to see it. The last thing I'd want is for us to do a live draw next week and the winner not saying they can't go. So if you're a member, of course, it's your privilege. It's part of your membership. You get your automatic inclusion. But if you can't go, then please, let me know so we can take you out of that draw. And of course, it just makes things easier our end. But hopefully, if I hear nothing from nobody, everybody will be in. £10 for 10 entries. There's the QR code. Get over to our website. You could be at Club Wembley with all of us here at Super League Raw, and of course, some wonderful people, and of course, young Alfie as well. It'll be a privilege to be in his company with his dad on the day. Boys, what a night! Another brilliant night of rugby league chat. Do you fancy doing it all again next week?
Go on then.
Go on, man.
That was a great cure for hay fever that tonight.
Was it?
I was struggling early doors, but
yeah,
it certainly cured me.
Happy days. So bit of time left. So let me just run through what we've gone through in terms of prize draws. First of all, if you're not a member, why aren't you a member? There's your QR code. Become a member. Tom Messer has tonight. He's a Team Talk member. He might be making his debut on the Final Whistle podcast this Sunday, and he's a Leigher. So already he's in favour with the white hooded man, the man that of course attracts people with his white hoodie, Mr. Sale. He'll be delighted to have another Leigher in the posse. So you've got tickets for Warrington against Saints. If you can go, then again, drop us a line on info@superleagueraw.com. We'll get you in the draw on that, and we'll notify you. There is a poll on WhatsApp. Of course, we've got the quiz with Sam Burgess, the entire Warrington squad, 17th of June. We're going to be taking 4 of you to that. And of course, you've got the chance of coming to the Challenge Cup final as well by doing that QR code. That is another brilliant Super League Raw Weekly in the bag. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for your love, support, and your company this evening. Join us next week. Don't forget, we've got Captain's Run, 6 p.m. for members on Thursday. That's there. In the sheds for the last round, they'll be completed tomorrow. They'll be going out, of course, in the shed throughout the weekend. We'll be back for the Final Whistle, and we'll be back for Round Unpacked. Loads coming up for you members in the week ahead. But, of course, we'll be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. because you cannot beat a bit of weekly. Here's the top performers. Bye for now. Here are your top performers after 8 rounds of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer out on his own now is Jay Field of the Wigan Warriors with 10, a beauty against the Saints. The most try assists have come from St Helens Jack Wellsby. He's got 12. Whilst the most meters made are once more Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 1,347. The most clean breaks have come from Smoking Joe Burgess of Ulgaya. He's got 9. Whilst the top tackler is Mike Meekin of the Wakefield Trinity, 328. The most tackle busts have come from Jack Wellsby with 49. Whilst the most harm meters made down the middle is his prop forward, Alex Walmsley, 1,137. The most offloads have come from Big Herman SASA, he's got 20. Whilst the most goals continue to come from the boot of Mark Percival of St Helens with 26. These are your top performers after 8 rounds of the Betfred Super League.